earlier this year, we acquired a company called People Answers that was based in Dallas. And actually, it was interesting. I'll talk about science a little bit later. We're a big believer in powering applications with predictive analytics and machine learning. But these were the first guys that we'd ever seen take data and machine learning and science and algorithms and apply it to the traditionally soft discipline of HR, right? And they initially focused on the area of talent acquisition, how you screen and recruit the right talent in your organization. And we've got about 40 PhDs on staff in Dallas that are just focused on talent science. We've got 44 patents pending in this area. So it's a very, very interesting solution. So let me talk about what it does. So what it's focused on is the way that you assess whether someone is the right person to hire. It's probably easier if I give you an example of a customer that did this. So Macy's is one of our largest customers, right? So the way that Macy's were doing this traditionally is in each of their stores, and they've got about 1,600 stores around the country, they've got 200 recruiters in each store. And at this time of year, it's a very seasonally driven business, they have to screen about 1.2 million candidates, right? Because obviously to support the Christmas shopping surge. And those two recruiters in the stores have to go through, sift all of this, and then actually set up interviews with the different departments and actually go through this whole process. So it's incredibly manual. You don't always hire the right people. And in fact, the Human Capital Management Institute has actually said that 49% of all the hires that are hired are actually bad. And most of the time, 90% of the time, the attributes that you're using to assess whether someone is the right hire are actually wrong. It's all based on a skills or a competency. It's not based on anything to do with behavioral, right? And the thesis that People Answers had when they built the company was that behavioral attributes, things like emotional consistency, attention to detail, things like that, are a better predictor of success of an employee than skills-based assessments. So still have to make sure people have the right skills, but it's not complete and it's not sufficient. So what you do with People Answers in the case of Macy's is you sit down with management, you say, what are the performance metrics that are important to you as a company, right? So in the case of Macy's, an easy one in a store was sales, okay? We want to actually look at what are the behavioral attributes of our existing employees that drive the highest sales. So we have a beautiful mobile little app, and you can do an assessment. It takes about 27 minutes to do it. So you identify the employees inside Macy's that drive the highest sales, and you have them do the assessment. And you figure out through, this is big data here, so we're crunching lots and lots of data here. We do about 20 million assessments a year. We've actually profiled 12% of the US working population. So this is big data on scale, like I said, with 44 patents. So it does a whole bunch of regression correlation analysis, punches it through all these algorithms, and comes up with a behavioral blueprint, a DNA, across 39 different attributes that identify these are the highest performers in your organization based on sales. So now you basically have a behavioral DNA, a blueprint across 39 attributes, weighted, that says this is what a great employee looks like for Macy's, this culture, this role, right, that'll drive the highest sales. So that's really the secret sauce of what we do. Then when you have candidates apply, this 1.2 million people, they come in and take this assessment. It can be on the website, the Macy's recruiting website, or on a mobile app they can download, and they take it and we compare them against this profile. So there's sort of two benefits here. One is that you hire the right people, right? The people that actually come into Macy's that will drive the highest sales. And in this case here, it's completely data-driven, right? It's empirical. We can hire people in a control group that don't take the assessment the normal way, and we can compare them with people that we do hire using the science. And in this case here, what Macy's sees is people that get hired through our behavioral science system drive 9% higher sales, which is a hell of a lot when you think about it. But the other benefit is turnover. Because you're hiring people that are going to be successful and fit the Macy's culture, they drive 44% lower turnover, right? So you're hiring the right people that drive higher performance, and you have less turnover. So if you look at, we do a lot of this in healthcare, so Tenet Health, one of the largest health systems in the country, also do this. And the CFO there has no idea what his ATS system is, doesn't know what his ATS system is, but he knows who People Answers and Infor are, because we are driving dramatically lower turnover for nurses. And what he says is that he says that we save him 1,000 nurses a year, right? So there's 1,000 nurses less a year that he's actually seeing turnover because of our system. And it's about $40,000 to recruit a new nurse and train them. So there's real money here in terms of reducing turnover. So that's the second thing, that the benefit that we saw from Macy's by using this. You're hiring the right people and driving lower turnover. The other thing, though, is the automation of the process. Right? So there's 1.2 million resumes, and there's 2 people in all these stores, across 1,600 stores. What they were able to do is eliminate those roles in the stores and build out a shared service center in Florida. Right? So they've got 75 people in the shared service center in Florida now that are running and automating all of this sifting through these resumes and reducing the number of candidates that we interview and making sure you get the right candidates the first time. So you do the math in terms of that headcount reduction and moving to a shared service model. So a huge amount of benefit in this solution in terms of maximizing sales, right? Reducing the cost of turnover, right? And then the automation of actually assessing resumes.